would you define awe?
Well, I define it as the humility and wonder, or sense of adventure toward living. I mean, awe has been defined in different ways historically. In the old days, ancient days, it used to be seen more in association with dread and trembling, before usually natural phenomena that people didn't understand, earthquakes or thunder, God. But over time, and maybe as people have evolved, it came to be seen as a kind of a mixed sentiment, that it involved this, mysterium tremendum, as Rudolf Otto put it in his book, Idea of the Holy, the shaking, quailing sense of the awesome God or thunderstorm, to mysterium tremendum and fascinating. So again, it's that movement from paralyzing terror to sense of intrigue to an actual sense of wonder and fascination. And that mixture, I believe, is one of the most beautiful, transcendental kind of dimensions that we can embrace as human beings. Because it's not just sweet and saccharine, like some of the transcendental movements had leaned toward. And it's not all doom and gloom, but it's really it's a sense of again fully engaging, participating in the life experience. Sometimes captured in a moment of let's say a love connection, or an amazing mountainscape, great film or great book. But I believe that to more fully tap this dimension, it really should be a lifetime process of experiencing this sense of humility and wonder or adventure at every moment, if one is able. At least that's the challenge, it seems to me. It's really a powerful way of lifting us out of the narrow identifications that we get into in living. And we certainly see this with our clients constantly, the negative judgments, the judgments that we're ugly, or we're too fat, or we're too slow, or we're not good in a sport. So many different judgments that we deal with today. And partly, I think, because of our sort of high-tech efficiency model for living world, it doesn't allow for, a larger experience of life. And so the sense of awe, really, it takes us beyond all that. In some way, it takes us beyond all these human judgments. I'm not saying that those aren't important, but they're part of a much greater context. And if you can connect with existence, broadly speaking, where's the judgment there? There's a kind of fullness to that connection. Yeah. There's a fullness that Viktor Frankl spoke about in Man's Search for Meaning, when he was able to connect with scenes of his family picnicking in the sunlight in the midst of this, horrible and depraved death camp, or watching the Bavarian mountains as he's sitting on a transport train going to Auschwitz. It's that capacity that we rarely use, that we all have, I mean, in many ways, I believe it's a wonderful antidote to depression. And it's, again, it's not a saccharine antidote. It's acknowledging that there's sadness, there's tragedy. But it's also recognizing that there's so much more, and we're so much more. So to me, it's a beautiful transcendental term, and I'm trying as much as I can to, to keep it alive in my life. It's very hard in our culture to do that.
Yeah, it's
because
not
we get
exactly
so
a
weighed
culture
down.
that supports that.
No. I mean, the sense of awe requires a pause, requires time. When do we have time in this culture to slow down? How do you appreciate things without being able to slow down some? How do we appreciate this moment, fully, unless we take some time to realize the amazement of what we're doing, what we're probing, inquiring into, discovering together. So time and with all our handheld devices, all our high-tech wizardry, we don't have that time. We don't make that time nearly enough.
We
Also,
don't even look up to see the beauty as we're driving, hardly.
that's right. How much do we check in with that? There is that kind of trite old adage about, smell the roses, but it's a lot of power and depth to that. It's much more than just, stop and smell the roses. We're talking about something that can turn somebody's life around, in my view. I feel like it's helped to turn my life around, and I've worked with people whose lives have been radically transformed by a sense of awe.